Hello everybody, I just went ahead and finished Deathloop on stream. It took me right around 20 hours, which is longer than most people. I think average completion for the game is about 15 hours, but you know, I'm the type of guy that does a lot of side shit and really explores and stuff like that, so I definitely did a lot of exploring in the side stuff, but not all of it. There's actually quite a lot of stuff that I didn't manage to do or figure out, and I'm still kind of curious about it. But let me go ahead and get into the pros and cons, and then I'll tell you guys my overall verdict of the game. Definitely don't think this is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece though, but let's get into it. So for the pros, I think the voice acting is really, really good for Colt and Juliana. I think the chemistry that they have, the rivalry that they have, I think it's really, really good. Everyone else in the game is just average at best or subpar. I don't think any of the Visionaries are really voice acted well. Not that they have a bunch of dialogue, to be honest. But the vast majority of the dialogue you're gonna hear of just like the peons talking and stuff like that, and that's how you get a lot of your information, is from eavesdropping on dudes. I think it's just subpar or average at best, but Colt and Juliana are the majority of like the story dialogue, and I think they are really, really good. I like everything between them. It was super good. Colt really stands out to me as having a really fresh personality, something that you don't really see in a lot of games. So I liked him quite a lot. And Juliana is a good like rival character that you love to hate type of thing. The overall story of the game is very simple. If you see any trailers of the game, then you basically know there are 8 Visionaries. You have to kill all 8 in one day, and in order to break the time loop that you're stuck in. And how you go about doing that, I'm not going to spoil anything in this, but how you go about doing that really involves reading a lot of papers, sifting through emails, eavesdropping on enemies, stuff like that. And overall, I found the story very interesting at the beginning, has a really strong start, kind of fell off for me in the middle, picked back up towards the end, and then at the end it really fell off for me. I think it was very, very underwhelming. And that's all I'll say because I don't want to get into any spoilers. So it was definitely a roller coaster ride, and at the end the story definitely left me a little lacking. I wish that there was a little bit more story to it, but honestly, most of the narrative comes through reading, like literally just like lore pickups, audio logs, stuff like that. And I'm not the biggest fan of that as a medium to tell your story. I think it's kind of lazy in a way, but that's just me personally. So overall, the narrative left me wanting a little bit more, but it definitely has some really strong points in it, especially that beginning. Super, super good beginning. The actual gunplay and stuff, I think it's pretty good. It's pretty satisfying. People have talked to death about the AI, which I'll get to in the cons, but the actual shooting itself is good. The animations on the guns are phenomenal. The reloads are really, really cool, stylish, and it feels good to shoot most of the guns in the game. The ragdolls on the enemies are wonderful and hilarious and make you feel powerful. And I really liked just shooting motherfuckers with shotguns, and especially Carnesis, which is an ability that allows you to toss dudes in different directions. Tons of fun with that. I was using it basically all game. Very, very fun. And the level design. The game is split up. There's 4 different levels, and then there's 4 different times in the day. And for each time in the day, morning, noon, afternoon, and evening, you get to pick what location out of the 4 you want to go to, and they change quite a bit from each time. So really, it's sort of like there's 4 different levels for the 4 levels. which is really cool. Not all of them. I think one of the locations only has 3 times. But, you know, generally speaking, it's like there's 4 levels for 4 levels. So, it's pretty fun. Navigating the levels, I think they're designed fairly well. And overall, I am actually a fan of the lack of stealth. Now, people told me you have to be stealthy in this game, and you really don't. There's not a lot that you have to be stealthy for in this game. For the vast majority, other than a few like, oh, I'm eavesdropping on you, and then I'm just gonna shoot you and go loud, there's really not a lot of sections where you have to be sneaky, and I like that, personally. I'm a big fan of that. I'm not the biggest sneaky fan, so I like to just go through and shoot everybody in the face. And it allows you to do that and play through the game, and I think the AI lends itself to that because you're not worrying about every enemy on the map coming and getting you once you go loud, especially because when you kill somebody, their body disappears. And as a result, you can kill more people and be a little bit more liberal about shooting dudes or snapping necks or chopping them up with machetes, and you don't really have to worry about being, you know, severely punished for that, which I like personally. And then the final positive that I'll say is I really, really enjoy just the thought process on the narrative, right? It's the same thing I said for 12 minutes. I like the concept of you do a loop, you're gathering information, then your next loop, you're applying that information, which is getting you more information, next loop, right? That repeating cycle, I really, really like that. And I suppose another positive is obviously the sound. It's really, really good. The music is phenomenal in the game. Has a nice little jazzy tone to it. Reminded me of a kind of like Persona 5, a little jazzy. I liked it a lot. I enjoyed it. To get into the negatives, like I said, the end of the game, it's a negative for me. It really dropped the ball. It builds up a lot, and then it just failed to deliver for me personally. I was left going, wait, that's it? That's actually the end of the game? So that was a little bit disappointing. The online is not good. If you can even find a match for like joining someone else's game, it's extremely imbalanced. Some of the guns are just much stronger than other guns. I only did it once, and when I did, it was really, really laggy. I don't recommend it, personally. Not a fan. Also, the AI. It's really dumb. It's really dumb. And for some people, they're not going to mind. Like me, I didn't really mind, but some people really do have a problem with that. It's really, really stupid. There were several sections where there's like 3 dudes standing together, and I was talking to chat, and I'm like, look, I'll show you guys how stupid this AI is. We'll just walk up with a machete, stab one dude, and they're all like standing next to each other, you know? Stab one dude, none of the other dudes freak out. Stab the next dude, chop off his fucking head. Sound of the blood. The third guy, nothing. He doesn't even know what the hell's going on. Grab his neck, fucking twist it around like a goddamn Coca-Cola bottle cap. No one's alerted. And this is only made much, much worse when you get a gun with a silencer. This game becomes trivial in difficulty once you get a gun with a silencer. It's like you're not even shooting. It's kind of crazy. Nobody will react. You can just shoot like 4 dudes, just bop, 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 in a row, and nobody will react at all to it. You could be right next to somebody and shoot, and that silenced gun literally has no sound. It doesn't even exist. It's like you're doing some fucking wind jutsu from Naruto. You're shooting little wind bullets or something. I don't fucking know, but nobody reacts. It's insane. The game becomes really, really easy when you use a silenced gun. So I guess you could just not use a silenced gun. You if you don't want that. And I will say, I wish there was a little bit more powers. There's not the most powers in this game, especially the fact that you can only have 2 equipped. I'm not a fan of that. You know, I just played Dishonored 2, and by the end of that, I had like 5 fucking powers I could go through, and it was awesome. I loved it. I was like, man, what do I want to use in this fight? And it kept it fresh the whole time. Whereas, like I said when I was talking about the gameplay, I had Carnesis on like the entire time because it's fucking fun to just fling dudes into walls and off ledges and stuff like that. And then I had the blink ability, the teleport, for basically the rest of the game as well, because why would I not? It's super, super good. And it's just really handy to get around the map. There's also a double jump ability that I didn't take off for the entire game, because once you get used to a double jump, it's really weird not having a double jump, and it was just messing me up. So I think they definitely should have allowed for just swapping out powers on the go. I think that was definitely a misstep there. And I don't think there's a good variety of weapons. I found myself thinking that some of the weapons in this game just suck. Like this gun right here. This fucking Magnum, it sucks. It sucks ass. It's a 2-shot to the body for some reason. It shoots slow, has tons of recoil. And it 1-shots to the head, but you know what else 1-shots to the head? Literally every gun in the entire game, so why would you ever want to use this thing? It's doo-doo. I got legendary versions that had all sorts of cool effects, and it was still awful. So, some guns are just bad, whereas you use this little SMG, right? The first SMG that you start the game with, you start that with that baby, and you can just one-tap everybody in the head. It's just 1 bullet to the head. So just bing, 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 bing. Starts off with like a 25 mag capacity, so you can just tap dudes for days. God forbid you put a silencer on that thing. You get a silenced version, you're unstoppable. Everybody's just dying instantly. Tapping heads for days. So, and also the shotguns were pretty good, but weirdly enough, the super legendary shotgun was terrible. Like, just the regular shotguns were much, much better than, like, the legendary shotgun. Same thing with the legendary sniper, right? The one that you've seen in the trailers, you've seen Juliana use. It's not even good. It's not even good. So, I don't know. The balance is kind of whack. And I wish that there was just more viable guns in general. And I wish it was a little bit harder, because like I said, once you get the silenced gun, you're just doo-dooing on people. And there is one section of the game, I'm keeping everything general, but it requires you to do 3 loops just to acquire this information. And you have to do 3 loops where you go to this one place every single morning, and it just became stale to me that I had to do 3 loops in order to get this done. And you can skip time as well. If you like only have something to do in the morning and the afternoon, you can skip noon, and then you could skip evening as well, just go into the next day. But I just didn't like the whole concept of, okay, your next objective is you have to do 3 loops, and you have to keep redoing this very monotonous process. You gotta turn on these generators, and it's just a very monotonous process of like every morning for 3 loops, I need to go here, I need to turn on these 6 generators, I need to do this, and now go to the next location, and having to do that like 3 loops, it was just a little bit much. It was a little annoying to me. And my final con is just that I wish that the Visionaries like had a little bit more to them, you know? Like, I wish I could walk up to them and have a conversation with them as Colt, right? Like, get to know them a little bit more. None of these people will ever talk to you. Even one of them that's supposed to be like your friend, or used to be your friend, I would have no idea that he was supposed to be my friend if the game didn't tell me on several occasions. Like, you have no choice to talk to these people for them to try and, you know, sway you towards their side or whatever. Which doesn't really make sense, because to them, this is the first day, so they should, you know, think that they can sway you, but they can't. And one more negative I will say, kind of regarding that, is I'm not a fan of there only being one solution to the game. There's only one perfect loop. There's only one way to beat the game. I don't like that, personally. I mean, even 12 minutes had like 4 different endings, right? 4 different ways to beat the game. I wish that this game had a little bit more, but unfortunately, there's only one way to beat it. And then you would think, oh, that's because they're setting up something really cool for the ending. They want everyone to experience it, and the ending is lackluster. So. For me, the game is enjoyable. Oh, and the performance, it wasn't that bad for me on PC. I have 16 gigabytes of 3200 megahertz RAM, which isn't the best. I have a 2070 Super, which is quite good, and a Ryzen 7 3700X overclocked to, I think, 4.2 gigahertz. So, not the craziest machine. I played on an SSD as well, an NVMe. And unfortunately, I had to cap it at 70 FPS because it was just all over the place. The mouse movement is finicky. I could not get the sensitivity right. It feels almost like you're just always playing with mouse acceleration, which is terrible. But, you know, the game is super easy, so you don't really need to be flicking to heads and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, overall, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. I think this is Arcane's worst game. Personally, I don't know how people are giving it 10 out of 10. I think this is Arcane's worst game. I think Prey is much better. Dishonored 1 is much better. Dishonored 2 is much better. I think Dark Messiah Might and Magic is much better. I think this is easily their worst game. But even saying that, it's still a good game, right? My rating scale, 5 is average, 6 is above average, 7 is good. I think this is a good game. It's a good game. I'd recommend. There's really no replay value to this at all, and you can't count on the multiplayer being up because it's not even up now. Like, it runs like shit now. So I would say there's not really a lot of replayability other than if you really want to find everything. So I'd say for me personally, like a solid $30 would be a steal of a deal for this. Don't be paying $70 on PS5. That's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one. See all of you in the next video. Bye bye.